Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Christmas Eve, and happy Christmas Eve to anyone that is watching. Like down in Australia, it's already Christmas Eve there, you guys. We've got a loaded slate today. 13 games on the ice, and as we all look forward to celebrating the holidays, so do these players out there on the ice. So we've got to be really cautious today in your betting. That's the one piece of advice I can give you today. What's the motivation of some of these teams coming out here when the holidays are right on their doorstep? So be cautious with your bets today. That being said, we'll go over all 11 or all 13 of these games, actually a loaded slate out there. Let's make some freaking money, Mo. There is going to be definitely some opportunities to jump into some of these games. Now, these games kick off in the afternoon. The first game and the second game, 1 o'clock Eastern for the Rangers and the Devils, and we have 2 o'clock Eastern for the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. These teams are going to be excited to get going on their holidays, kicking off early and not having to play tonight. That is for sure. Now, the New York Rangers did take that loss last night, or in their last game out versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and that was last night. That was a game I thought the Rangers actually might get up for. They played the Carolina Hurricanes so nice and strong. Now they have to face the New Jersey Devils. They're coming in as almost a $2 dog here. On the road, this total sitting at 6.5. The juice to the total sitting at the under 6.5 at minus 134, currently on FanDuel. And when we look at the New Jersey Devils, they're so expensive straight up on that money line. Goaltending matchup, Jonathan Quick is expected here for the New York Rangers and Jacob Markstrom expected here for the New Jersey Devils. I do think this is a lower scoring game. We look at Jonathan Quick, he has a .910 save percentage versus the Devils in his career. And when we look here at Jacob Markstrom, his numbers have been fantastic versus the New York Rangers. He has a goals against average of 1.70 and a .942 save percentage. So I do think this is a lower scoring game. Because a lower scoring game, I would count on the Rangers to be able to keep it tight. This is actually a team that's been strong on the second night of a back-to-back, especially as a dog, being able to pull off those upsets on that second night of a back-to-back as a dog in their last 5. So I'm going to look here at the New York Rangers on the puck line. I know it's gross. It's not something I love doing in this one, especially a day game. But because this is a lower scoring game for me, I do think they'll keep it within the number. So plus 1.5 coming in at the Rangers at minus 130. So that is where I'm going. I'm not going to have a ton of bets in today's action, you guys. It's just going into the holidays, especially these day games. You're not going to have as many opportunities to jump in like you would a normal game. You got to wonder headspace, right? The Winnipeg Jets taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Connor Hellebuck expected here for the Winnipeg Jets. Toronto expected to start Joseph Woll. Current odds on this one, the Winnipeg Jets are minus 105. Toronto minus 114. Cheap price for the Toronto Maple Leafs at home. We never, well, I won't say never, we hardly get them at a price like this. They're normally overpriced. I would have thought they would have still rolled in at a minus 130 favorite, especially with what we've seen out of them versus the Winnipeg Jets. This is a team that they've known how to beat. We got a total of 5.5. It's plus 110 to the under, minus 134 to the over in this. With how Toronto has played Winnipeg, I do think they have the opportunity of getting the win in this one, but this is such a short price on the Winnipeg Jets as well. Because the books aren't giving me more here, for the Winnipeg Jets, I can't jump on it at minus 105 with how they've played Toronto. Toronto has won the last 6 meetings. So at minus 114, why are the books giving us such a good price? It kind of feels trappy. It feels like we should be jumping all over Winnipeg because they are begging us to take the Leafs in this one. Honestly, you guys, I don't want to bet this. If I'm betting it, it will be Toronto because I know that they can beat the Winnipeg Jets. You look here at Connor Hellebuck. He's gone 7-10-3 versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's still got a 904 save percentage, but he's got a 3.16 goals against average. So Toronto has been able to hit him. I would look at Mitch Marner. I would look at Austin Matthews to come out nice and strong and put those shots on goal. Bobby McCann has been strong for the Leafs as well. He's been able to sink that puck in the back of the net. He scored in the last 3 games out for Toronto. So something I would look at as well. Tony agreeing with that under between the Rangers and I'm guessing the Rangers and the New Jersey Devils is what you're talking about. Happy holidays. Colorado's team total over 3.5. Yeah, I like Colorado to continue to get those goals on the board. Seattle under 2.5. Seattle all day under the 2.5. Vinny, I love where you're going with that. Let's look at the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is going to be an interesting one. I actually really like this matchup. I think this is a good game to jump in on. Total 6.5 plus 100 to the over. The Pittsburgh Penguins minus 122 here at home, plus 102 here for the Flyers. Now, I am going to take the Penguins here on the money line to be able to get a win. They're coming off a 3-0 loss versus the New Jersey Devils, and I love teams that are coming up being shut out to really bounce back in their next game. Their previous 3 games had also gone to overtime. So we've seen this team playing in some really hard ones. They've won 2 of their last 3 that were pushed to overtime. They've won 5 of the last 7 meetings versus the Philadelphia Flyers as well. And this is a really strong rivalry between the Flyers and the Penguins. We always get a super strong game, and we normally get exciting ones. 3 of the last 4 games have been 1-goal games. We've seen 2 of those 1-goal games be decided, one by shootout, one just by regular overtime. I do think this is a game you can look at to go to overtime. The overtime bet coming in at plus 310 between these 2 teams. Now, I think the Penguins get that win in overtime. I will take the Penguins on the money line at that short price, but I do think it goes over that total of 6.5. Urgent expected here for the Flyers and Tristan Jarry expected for the Pittsburgh Penguins. We know the Penguins have struggled defensively and in net. So if they are to get the win, I do think it has to be a higher scoring one. Now, Raquel has been very strong versus the Flyers in his career. He has been able to put up a goal in 3 of the last 4 games versus the Flyers. So Raquel would be your playmaker. I'd also look at Sidney Crosby and Malkin. I think it's going to be a good one. Yeah, Timothy, I thought of you last night when the Edmonton Oilers won, and I laughed, and I'm like, okay, we'll see Timothy tomorrow. So I was happy for you, Timothy, with that one. Great call. Let's look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Now, yes, we did see this matchup yesterday. We ended up seeing Spencer Knight step in for the Panthers instead of Bobrovsky. So today, Bobrovsky is expected in goal. The Florida Panthers, if you didn't watch that game and just saw the box score 4-2, absolutely crushed it on the kill. On 1 kill alone, they scored 2 of their goals. So they scored 2 goals on the kill. Short-handed goals. It was phenomenal to watch the Florida Panthers just pick apart the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning still a good team. Vasilevsky allowed 3 goals on 25 shots on net. And then we saw Spencer Knight stop 19-21. So it was a good game out there. Both of these teams gave it their all, but the Florida Panthers just so strong on special teams, especially to score on that kill. That's what we love to see when a team is able to do that. And I think they roll in and get another win here at home. So yesterday's game was in Tampa. Today we have the Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 128 on the money line. We have the Florida Panthers at minus 154. So unbettable here, you guys, straight up on that money line. Total of 6.5. The 6.5 juice to the over at minus 120, but I could see this game unfolding like we saw yesterday. Both teams to score in the first period, the over 1.5 in the first period. We did see the Florida Panthers put up 2 goals in the second, but I expect more of a lockdown in that second period. And we still stayed under the total of 6.5 yesterday just by the skin of our teeth. And I think we stay under the 6.5 again at minus 102 to the under. I know both of these teams on the back-to-back, but you will have Bobrovsky in net. Now, Vasilevsky not in net tonight here for the Tampa Bay Lightning as they started him yesterday. Johansson will be in goal. Now, he should be able to do enough. I think the Lightning's defense should be able to do enough as well. The support they gave Vasilevsky yesterday, only allowing 25 shots on goal, was a nice defensive strength of them. So I'm looking for Florida to win another one here. There was also an empty netter yesterday. So something to account for in that 4-2 total. Give me the under, give me the Florida Panthers, but I don't want to bet the -154. If they go up in this game, I will be coming back, or down in this game, I will be coming back in on the Florida Panthers. I could see here the Tampa Bay Lightning so hungry, being able to score first, and then Florida still comes back and wins it. So I will be looking for those live betting opportunities here. I don't want to lay the 1.5 on the puck line here with the Florida Panthers, even though we could see it because of that empty netter. It's just not enough value here. So I'll look at both teams to score in the first period. I'll look at the over 1.5 and the Florida Panthers to get the win. But again, live betting situation, and the under 6.5 in this game. Yeah, you got to go under. So we had an empty netter and 2 goals on the kill. So it was a crazy game to still be able to stay under. Let's get this freaking money, Kev. And yeah, if you guys could like, share, or retweet, I would greatly appreciate it. The Wild today. We'll get to that game in just a minute. You guys drop those comments in the chat there. Let Timothy know what you're thinking about the Wild. We'll get to it. We got a loaded slate. We're just going to go in order of time here. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Montreal coming in at +114. Dog on the road, Columbus at -137, total 6.5. Firstly, I'm going to go over the 6.5. That's coming in at -105. I do think this is a 4-3 style game. I could see this one being pushed to OT, but I like the value we're getting on the Montreal Canadiens at the moment. That's coming in at plus money. We look at Montreal. They've won their last 3. They're coming off a Saturday win versus the Red Wings 5-1. We look here at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Their last game did go to OT. They lost to the Flyers 5-4. Both of these teams can put the goals in, or the pucks in the net, get those goals. And I do think with Montreal winning the last 7 meetings in Columbus, you just got to look at them to be able to come out on top. Now, I would look at Monahan for the anytime goal here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. You know we love to circle him. And then when you're looking at Montreal, it's Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. I would be parlaying both of them. Patrick Laine as well. You've got such great young talent out here, as well as veteran presence for the Montreal Canadiens, that I do think higher scoring game, we're going to be able to cash on some point props parlayed together, as well as some anytime goals. So they won the last meeting as well, the Montreal Canadiens 4-3, and I think it's exactly the same style of game. Could we see that 4-3 game in OT? I do think so. This one to go to overtime is coming in at +300. So we're not getting the value that we're getting in some of these games to go to OT, but this one is going to be tight. Sam Montague expected here for Montreal, and Jet Greaves for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So should be an interesting one. Definitely think an opportunity to make some money. And Anthony, yeah, both of these teams are going to put 2 goals up on the board. I don't see the defense really showing that. I don't see defense stepping up today. That is for sure. Yeah, we will definitely get to those player props at the end. So it's always 1 or 2 players that kill us. So make sure you do play around when we do that round robin, long shot parlay, same game parlays as well. Play around with those numbers. Next, let's look at the Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals, there was like talks, Ovi getting back in the lineup, not happening. They're coming in at +106. We got the Boston Bruins at -128 here at home. Total of 5.5, -114 to the over, -106 to the under. Lots of 5.5s going into these games. The trend to between these two is truly to that under. We've seen some tight battles. My problem here is I don't really trust Swayman that much. Swayman has excellent numbers versus the Capitals. He just hasn't looked the same this season. When we look at him versus the Capitals, he's gone 2-4. So not getting those wins in 7, but you look at his save percentage and his goals against average. He has a goals against average of 1.79, save percentage of 934. The problem is, since he got paid, he just hasn't been able to really step up like we expected. And yes, he's had some good games, but the Washington Capitals, this team has been able to score. They're converting on the power play. Their special teams is looking great on the kill as well. One thing about the Washington Capitals, this team knows how to get up in the first period and hold that lead going into the second. I like the Washington Capitals here in the first period on the money line at -104. And then I want to get out of this game because the Capitals are 2-5 in the last 7 meetings in Boston. So they have struggled here in Boston. Again, I'm being pretty cautious today with betting these games because the holidays are on deck. Some of these players might just not be in the right mindset to play a game with family obligations coming up over the next couple of days. Excited to get home. They got little kids at home, they are excited for their holidays, and maybe just a couple of seconds of their mindset not being there, and they could lose this game. So cautious with this one. Just give me the Washington Capitals in the first period. The underdog has gone 5-2 in the last 7 meetings between these two teams, though. So something to watch for. It's just such a good price here for the Washington Capitals taking on a Boston Bruins team that I don't trust goaltending. And we got Charlie Lindgren in net. So at the end of the day, I'll probably end up sprinkling on the Washington Capitals for the full game. But the best bet is that money line in the first period. Let's look at the St. Louis Blues. They're taking on the Detroit Red Wings. So the Red Wings are the favorite here at home, -118. The St. Louis Blues coming in at -102, total of 5.5 at -122 to the over, +100 to the under. If this one stays under the total, I think it's because the Red Wings don't put up their share of the goals. Cam Talbot versus St. Louis. The numbers aren't great. He's gone 8, 9, and 6 in 24 games with the goals against average of 3.11. The save percentage is .896. So I can't trust Cam Talbot. We know Jake Neighbors is questionable for this game, listed day-to-day. Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas have been clicking at a different level here. The St. Louis Blues are strong defensively, so they could hold down the Red Wings, who have lost their last 2. St. Louis has lost their last 3. Both of these teams are going to be hungry to come out hard and fast in the first. Now, Jordan Binnington also, he doesn't have good numbers versus the Red Wings. So when we look at his save percentage at .850, I trust the offense here for the Blues to get some goals. Looking at Binnington's numbers, we got to trust the Red Wings to be able to get some goals. Lucas Raymond to be able to convert, get that power play point for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look straight at the over 5.5 in this one. We are starting to get more value. The over 5.5 at -122. Earlier in the day, the over 5.5 was -130. So money coming in on the under. I just don't see it between these two teams with how these goaltenders have faced off. Again, it is the Blues defense that does have the upper hand in this matchup. But again, Binnington, he's got terrible numbers versus the Red Wings. So I think, one of these teams have to break these like small losing streaks they've been on. The over has been the trend, 5-0-1 in the last 6 meetings in Detroit, 7-1-1 in the last 9 meetings overall. The road team has had that road ice advantage, going 15-7 in the last 22. Jake Neighbors day-to-day is a step back for the Blues, but I think at the end of the day, the Blues get the win. Short price on them at -104. So I will like them here, and let's move on. Again, Kyrou and Lucas Raymond is where I'd look for those points today. Lucas Raymond on the power play, and I'd look at Jordan Kyrou for the anytime goal. The Buffalo Sabres are taking on the New York Islanders. This is going to be interesting, you guys. We know the Sabres absolutely were struggling, or are struggling, not were. They've lost their last 13. This is coming up to where they were a couple seasons ago when they finally broke that streak. This is the last game before Christmas here, and they're taking on an Islanders team that is expected to start Sorokin. Sorokin versus the Sabres does have pretty solid numbers. Sorokin coming in here versus the Sabres this season already got the shutout. It was a 3-0 shutout. He stopped 61 of 64 shots on his net. So Sorokin 2-0-0 versus the Sabres this season. Yeah, so this season there's been 2 matchups. That's what it is. I was like 61 of 64. That means he's allowed 3 goals. But he has been nice and strong versus the Sabres in his career. He's 10-10-4 with a 2.82 goals against average and a .903 save percentage. Again, the Sabres are struggling to get things done. They've lost their last 13. They're now rolling into New York at a +130 underdog price. You know this team wants to win, but can they get their heads together before the Christmas break? That's a tall task to ask here. -156 for the Isles. Now we have a total of 5.5 at this one, -120. I think if you're looking to bet anything on Buffalo, you could look at that first period for the Buffalo Sabres on the money line at +120. You know, over this 13-game stretch, there's been a handful that we've been able to win on the Sabres as they get up and then let these leads go. The Isles have started off slow at home. They've lost their last 4 first periods at home. So this could be a nice opportunity for the Sabres at +120 on the money line in the first period. But I think you just look at the Sabres, and I think they struggle again to score in this game. Under 2.5 goals here for the Buffalo Sabres, coming in at -104. This matchup is 7-1 in the last 8 meetings, to that under 5-0, to the under in the last 5 in New York. I expect the Isles defense to really play a strong game here. They're off a road win versus the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-3. They were on the road. They're coming off a big win. It should be a nice spot to look here at fading the Isles, but I just can't at this price get on the Buffalo Sabres. If the Buffalo Sabres fall down in that first period and then we're able to come back with some value on that puck line for the Sabres, I would look at that. The Islanders, we know they can't hold leads either. Both of these teams are going to battle this one out. So at the end of the day, I just think the Sabres, they struggle to score. And that's what we've seen out of this team. They get up in the first period and they let these games go. So we've got playmakers, but yeah, the Sabres really, they need help. That is for sure. Okay. The Carolina Hurricanes, they are taking on the Nashville Predators. Now, Carolina, I still don't trust on the road, even though they got that win versus the Rangers. Very inconsistent out here on the road. They're -122 favorites, and the Nashville Predators +102 at home. I like the Preds today. I think they have the ability to win. I do think this is probably a game we get in and we get out with the Predators in that first period. We got a total of 5.5. The juice to the 5.5 is to the over at -138. The Predators in the first period on the money line coming in at +102. I will hit that. They've crushed the first period at home in their last 8 games, winning those. So they've been able to get up. I think they can get up fast on the Carolina Hurricanes, who this team, I don't trust them, right? You're looking at this team second night of back-to-back. They got a 3-1 win yesterday versus the Rangers. They've got Tokarski expected in net tonight. Now, he's only come out once. He faced the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he had a very solid performance. He allowed 1 goal and 28 shots. But Tokarski here versus the Nashville Predators, I think the Preds will be able to score on him. We know the Predators' issues have come in net and on a defense. The Predators offensively have been able to put up some goals as of late. We saw them get the overtime win versus the LA Kings on Saturday. It was a 3-2 win. Being able to put up 3 goals on the Kings was impressive, and I think they're going to be able to put up the goals here on Tokarski in this matchup. So give me the Predators. I'll get in and out. First period money line up +102. The home team between these two teams has won 13 of the last 18 meetings as well. The Carolina Hurricanes do hold the overall strength between these two, though, winning 20 of the last 28. So if you want to get on the Canes after they go down, I'd feel more comfortable with that, grabbing them once they go down in this game, because I do think the Predators will go up first. Again, I don't trust goaltending for the Canes. So that would be my advice if you like the Canes, but I won't be betting it. I will be on the Predators just in the first period. The Chicago Blackhawks next take on the Minnesota Wild. I know you guys were asking about this one. The Wild, such a large favorite here. -235 on that money line. Disgusting. +190 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. +1.5 for the Blackhawks on the puck line. Not enough value. It's -140. -1.5 for the Minnesota Wild is only +114. Again, not enough value for me to jump on the Wild to cover that puck line. Total 5.5, juice to the under at -112. We have the brother effect in this one. We have a brother on both of these teams. Nick Foligno here for Chicago is their left winger, and then the brother is Marcus Foligno of the Wild. So he's the left winger as well. So brother against brother, this is going to be a duel. This is the third meeting this season between these two. They've already split this series so far. Chicago was able to pick up the first win. They won that game 2-1 in the series opener between these two. And then the Minnesota Wild answered back 3-2 in that next game. Both teams were at home when they were able to get the win. We're seeing this game in Minnesota. Can the Chicago Blackhawks keep it tight in this one? I do think there's an opportunity for them to keep it tight. Marc-Andre Fleury is expected here for the Minnesota Wild. And Marc-Andre Fleury, he did play sometime in Chicago. When he was with Chicago, it was like the 2021-2022 season. He had very strong numbers with Chicago. So you do have not only the brother and brother, you have Marc-Andre Fleury. He once played for the Chicago Blackhawks. And then you have Ryan Hartman, the center here for the Minnesota Wild. He was actually drafted in, I believe it was 2013. Don't quote me on that. by the Chicago Blackhawks. So he spent a lot of time with Chicago as well. It was the 2013-14 into 2018 seasons, I believe. So quite a bit of time here with Chicago. So he will be facing his former team. Now, the Blackhawks have only gone 5-16 in the last 21 meetings, but one of those meetings was this season. And I like what we saw out of them in that. Minnesota, they've been able to get 54 all-time wins versus Chicago, which is the third most against any opponent out there for the Minnesota Wild. So this is a team where they have that history of being able to get the win. We have seen these games trend to the under, especially in Minnesota. The last 5 games have gone under that total, which is a scary situation when you know you've got playmakers like Ryan Hartman, like Matt Boldy, like Kaprizov out here for the Minnesota Wild. What are we going to see out of them? Because Peter Mrazek will be in goal for the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. So we know those playmakers can hit goaltending, but what the Minnesota Wild like to do is they like to get up and then lock down. The Chicago Blackhawks lost their last game to Calgary 6-4. So they were able to put those goals on the board on Saturday. They have been producing offensively. I just don't believe that they'll get enough goals to push us over this total on Marc-Andre Fleury. The Wild have been struggling, though. They've lost their last 4 games. They got a loss in a shootout in their last game versus the Winnipeg Jets. A shutout. They got shut out versus the Winnipeg Jets. So you look at this team, there should be that bounce back factor. I'm just going to circle the under 5.5, you guys. I think this is a lower scoring game because of the Blackhawks. So when I break it down, the Blackhawks team total coming in at 2.5 minus 140 to the under. Could the Blackhawks win 2-1? Yeah, they could. I'm not willing to lay or to grab them on that money line. Laying on the puck line is just not enough value for me at the moment either. So the Minnesota Wild have won their last 7 at home versus the Chicago Blackhawks. If you just want to look at the Wild in reg, I think that's probably another solid bet. Again, you're not getting the value that I want to get for them. So hard game to bet, you guys. It really is. There's some hard ones out there today. Picks from Dave. A Merry Christmas to you too. I hope you have a wonderful time with your family. And I'm hoping your dog has like some antlers or a Christmas hat running around the house. I can't find my dog's Christmas hat, you guys. I moved this summer and my dog has a Santa hat, which he absolutely loves. His name's Traffic. And yeah, he's kind of sad. He sees the stockings. He doesn't know where his Santa hat is. So we got to find it. I'm going to go buy him one actually today. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. So Predator is first period money line, Kev. I like where you're going with that. It's definitely going to be a good one. Oh, she has a costume. I love that. Look at the costumes. Dave, you're going to have to post that over on X. We're all going to come over and make sure we check it out because I definitely want to see the costume for your dog. Let's move on to the Dallas Stars, you guys. They're taking on Utah. Okay, so the Dallas Stars here. I'm just trying to find the odds on FanDuel. He has 13 games. It's crazy today. The Dallas Stars are minus 156 favorite. We have the Utah Hockey Club at plus 130, total of 6.5, minus 138 to the under and plus 112 to the over. There is value on the home dog here with the Utah Hockey Club. The Utah Hockey Club at plus 130, it's starting to drop. I was seeing it as high as plus 140 earlier in the day. They've actually won their last 4 games as an underdog. We're seeing the Dallas Stars rolling in here. They've lost their last 2, and the last time these teams faced off, this is a battle of the Central. 4th here in the Central for the Stars and 5th here for the Utah Hockey Club. The last time they faced off, the Dallas Stars were able to get a 2-1 win. I think it's that tight of a game. We've seen the Utah Hockey Club be able to play in these tight games. They've covered the puck line in their last 9 as a dog. So they're not getting blown out by anyone. It's too much juice here to look at the Dallas Stars on the money line. And with this value, with the ability to get those wins as a dog, I like Utah. We saw Clayton Keller in that last game out be able to get 2 goals, even though that they lost. So I'm going to take a chance on the Utah Hockey Club for the plus money. I think Dallas last game here out on the road before the holiday break. It's just a letdown. Now, Jake Ottinger expected in goal and Vejmelka expected for the Utah Hockey Club. I still think it's probably a lower scoring game. That total of 6.5 to juice to the under at minus 138, but I expect it to stay that way. I would look at live betting this one if we saw those goals go in quick in that first period, as both of these teams know how to lock down and be able to hold on to a lead as well. So if it goes quick goals, look coming back in at the under 6.5. Okay. The San Jose Sharks versus the Vancouver Canucks. This is going to be an interesting one. We know this Sharks team loves to fight nice and hard. They are such a big dog at plus 205. Minus 260 here for the Vancouver Canucks, who've been, let's face it, inconsistent at home. Total of 5.5, minus 130 to the over. I wish this was a 6.5 with plus money to the over. And if you can alt your numbers, I would alt my numbers. I trust the San Jose Sharks to be able to get some goals on Adamco here. Like I said, the inconsistencies at home for Vancouver have been real, but the Vancouver Canucks are going to score. Georgiev expected in goal here for the Sharks, and we know we can't trust him. That's why Colorado let him go and traded for Mackenzie Blackwood. I do think you look at the first period over 1.5 goals at minus 112, and both teams to score in the first period. That's getting you almost 2-1 to your money. It's coming in at plus 198 currently on FanDuel, and that's where I love this game. I think we have both of these teams come out nice and hot in that first period. Vancouver could go up 2-1. So if you want to look at Vancouver in the first period on the puck line, I like it as well. You're going to get great plus money on Vancouver on the puck line. This is a team, the Vancouver Canucks, they actually do play the San Jose Sharks nice and strong. So they've covered the puck line in their last 7 games at home versus the Sharks. But again, I just don't know. The Sharks team is so scrappy out there. They could get that late goal just to make it a 1-goal game and finish it up. So I don't trust the full puck line here for Vancouver. I think at the end of the day, they probably get the win. I think it goes over 5.5. I think it goes over 6.5. So the first period, both teams to score is my favorite bet of this. So they've also, the Vancouver Canucks, won 9 of the last 10 meetings. So this is where they've been strong. The over trends are nice and strong. The last 9 meetings, 7 have gone to the over. If you want to isolate the San Jose Sharks team total to that over as well, we know Toffoli and Celebrini are going to bring it, but I do think Vancouver could put up 5 goals on their own, you guys, on Georgiev. So either way, you slice it. I think it's just the goals coming. I would look at Vancouver's team total over 3.5 as well. I think that's another strong way to go. And then last but not least, the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Then I'll get to your comments, you guys. I see a lot of comments coming in. The Anaheim Ducks are coming in as the biggest dog of the day, plus 270 here on the money line. The Vegas Golden Knights at minus 345 here at home in the Fortress. Total of 6.5. Minus 118 to the under, minus 104 to the over. I'm going to look to get in and out of this game. We know the Anaheim Ducks have struggled in the first period out there on the road, losing their last 4, and Vegas has been nice and strong at home in that first period. That's always been a great look for Vegas over the last couple of seasons, looking at them at home on the puck line in the first period. You can lay a half goal. That's coming in at plus 100. These teams have already faced up this season with Vegas getting a 4-1 win. They've also covered the puck line in their last 7 versus a Pacific opponent. The Anaheim Ducks rolling in here 7th in the Pacific. They're coming off that win versus Utah in the shootout yesterday, getting a 5-4 win. Tired legs, I do think, come into play. Vegas has the rest advantage, not playing since Saturday when they got the big win over the Seattle Kraken, 6-2. I do think this should be another big win here for the Vegas Golden Knights, being able to cover that puck line. But what I like best is just looking at the puck line first period. In and out of this game, I'd look at Mark Stone and Jack Eichel for their points combined, as well as their anytime goals. And then call it a day, call it a Christmas break. The under is the trend between these two, but it's because the Ducks haven't been able to light the lamp. So Vegas's team total, I would take to the over. The Ducks team total, I would take to the under. Let me just jump in to your comment. Thank you. Traffic knows he is very handsome. So I have Traffic and I have Lily, 2 little ones. I have all of my NFL you can check out on the SportsGrid app. So make sure you download it today. The links are above and below. My Cup of Joe will be out in a little bit as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that Cup of Joe. We'll be going over a couple of different games today that I'm liking in that Cup of Joe. So let's get to the recap, you guys. We are at the 34-minute mark. We then we'll build a player prop parlay out there as well. Again, caution with the Christmas break, where these teams are at, especially these day games. I don't love day games, especially before a holiday. you got to wonder the motivation of some of these teams. Motivation of a team that's been on a huge losing streak to get the win before they go into the break is huge. The mindset of those teams definitely in the game. I don't think they check out as much as a team that has been rolling pretty hot out there, especially if you look at a team that was shut out in their last game, and how they lost. If they lost in overtime, I think that motivation comes into the day as well. So let's jump into the recap, you guys. We're at the 35-minute mark, and let's go. The New York Rangers taking on the New Jersey Devils. I'm looking at the Rangers to be able to cover the puck line in this one, +1.5, because I do think it's a lower scoring game. The Rangers have been strong on their second night of a back-to-back as a dog, being able to win their last 5. So if you want to take a huge leap of faith in the Rangers to get the win over the New Jersey Devils, you can. Jacob Markstrom, though, has been phenomenally strong for the New Jersey Devils, and Jonathan Quick has been strong for the Rangers when we look at them facing each other. So I think the best bet of this game is the under 6.5. You're going to have to lay the juice at -134. You could ult it to under 5.5. You guys, I really do think this is a 3-2 style game. Ulting it to under 5.5 is going to give you great plus money. And this game is kicking off in the next 30 minutes. So get it in before it's too late. The Winnipeg Jets taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs have won the last 6 meetings between these two teams. We're getting such a short price on them here at home that it kind of scares me off this game. I don't love this game, you guys. If you're looking to bet it, I would be leaning on the Leafs to be able to get the win because, well, they've had that advantage over the Winnipeg Jets. But the Winnipeg Jets are such a strong team, I just don't want to step in front of them. So I won't personally be betting this game. The Philadelphia Flyers are taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I do think this game has the opportunity of going to overtime, +110 to go to overtime. We've seen that trend between these two playing in really tight games out there. The last 4 games have been decided by 1 goal. We've seen 2 of those last 4 games, 1 finish in regular overtime, 1 finish in a shootout situation. I would look at the same sort of factor to come into play with this. I'll take the Pittsburgh Penguins on the money line. I'll take this game over the 6.5 because I think it's a 4-3 style win in OT, and the overtime bet at +310. Looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers, we saw this matchup yesterday. We saw them hit 6 goals. 2 of those goals came on the kill there for the Florida Panthers, just playing so strong. We also saw an empty netter. I'm going to ride the under 6.5. I think you can ult this one to under 5.5 as well. You're going to get great plus money if you're brave enough that we won't get the empty netter in this game, because I think that's what it will come down to. If we get the empty netter, this game will go over 5.5 like we saw yesterday. And if we don't, we should be able to win that ult number under 5.5. The under 6.5, probably the best bet coming into this one. And I think the Florida Panthers win another one here at home. Again, not the value that we want for the Florida Panthers. I expect both teams to get up in the first period like we saw yesterday, both teams to score, and the over 1.5. If we see the Lightning score first, I'm going to be jumping all over the Florida Panthers on the money line. The Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Give me the over 6.5 in this one, and give me Montreal on the money line. Montreal has played Columbus really strong, winning the last 7 meetings versus them. This team's rolling hot. They've won their last 3. They got the win versus the Red Wings, and we're seeing the Columbus Blue Jackets off an overtime loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. Both of these teams can find the back of the net, and I would expect both of these teams to be able to light the lamp today. So the over 6.5, this game could be decided in OT as well, +300 for this one to go to overtime. The Washington Capitals taking on the Boston Bruins. We've seen the Capitals really struggle in Boston, only winning 2 of the last 7. I would look for the Capitals to win the first period. That has been their strength, and Boston to fight back. If the Washington Capitals win that first period, we're getting them on the money line at -104. That's where I'd go. Would I then look at Boston coming back to win it? No, I'm scared of that because I don't trust Swayman right now. I think Charlie Lindgren is the better goaltender. The Washington Capitals on the money line at +115 is what I'm seeing currently. I think is a strong way to look. I think they could pull off the road win here, but caution because they have struggled in Boston. The St. Louis Blues versus the Detroit Red Wings. I think the Blues are going to be able to score on Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot has struggled, a save percentage below 900 versus the St. Louis Blues. But then again, you got Jordan Binnington in net, expected at least for St. Louis tonight. He's got like an 850 save percentage versus the Red Wings. So I do think the goals are coming in this one. I think we can look at Jordan Kyrou and Lucas Raymond for those goals tonight. I think the first period over 1.5 goals at -110 and both teams to score at +184 definitely come into play. Again, this total sitting at 5.5 -124 to the over. I would expect 7 goals in this. If you want to alt it to over 6.5 and get that plus money, I'm all for it in this game. And I think the Blues can get the win. Short price on the Blues here on the road. The Buffalo Sabres and the New York Islanders. I think the Sabres struggle to score in this one versus Sorokin and the Isles. I'm going to take the Sabres team total under 2.5 at -104. Could they still win it 2-1? Yeah, they could, but I still think no matter what happens, they stay under that total. The Sabres have struggled in New York as well, so I don't trust them. If you want to bet the Sabres in the first period on that money line, I don't hate it. You're getting that at +120. You know, over this 13-game stretch, we've been able to make some money here in the first period with the Buffalo Sabres. It hasn't been cashing as much as of late, but it was really cashing to start this 13-game losing streak. We've seen the Isles also come out slow in that first period. So we've seen them lose their last 4 first periods at home. So there is trend supporting Buffalo in that first period. The Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Nashville Predators. Give me the Predators in the first period on the money line at +102. I like what we're seeing out of them. We got backup goaltending coming in for the Carolina Hurricanes. I still find Carolina so inconsistent out there on the road. Yes, they got to win over the Rangers, but that doesn't impress me. And now I've got the song by Shania Twain. That don't impress me much. You guys know it. Come on. My head thinks in song all the time. If you guys could be inside my head for like an hour, you'd go crazy. Looking at the Nashville Predators, they have won their last 8 first periods out there. I think get in, get out of this game. The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Minnesota Wild. I like the Blackhawks team total under 2.5 goals at -140. I think the Minnesota Wild do get the win here at home. You could look at them in regulation. Again, not much value to be able to do so. I think the under 2.5 for Chicago is the best value. You got the brothers versus the brothers. I think this game stays under the total, but little cautious with how many goals the Wild can put up here on Peter Mrazek. So that is my biggest concern. Marc-Andre Fleury expecting goal for the Wild. The Dallas Stars versus the Utah Hockey Club. Value on the home dog here on Utah. Now, lines are moving on this one, so jump in if you like Utah now. Don't wait as the day goes on because we are losing value. We've lost 10 points as this show has gone on. So they're coming in now at +122 on that money line. On a FanDuel, it was like +140 earlier in the day. So they've won their last 4 games as a dog, and I do think they can come out nice and strong in this one. The Dallas Stars have lost their last 2. They're ready for the Christmas break, and Clayton Keller been lighting the lamp. He, even in their loss in their last game, was able to get 2 goals. The San Jose Sharks and the Vancouver Canucks, I expect these goals to come raining in. I'm looking at this one to go over the total of 5.5. That's juice, though, you guys. I would alt this to over 6.5. I think we get 7 goals in this game. Again, 5 of those goals probably come from the Vancouver Canucks. So if you want to isolate Vancouver's team total, take it over 3.5. I like it. They've been inconsistent at home, but we got Georgiev in goal here for the San Jose Sharks. I do think the Sharks will still score on Demko. You look here at Toffoli and Celebrini. I think they're going to find the back of the net. Brock Besner, I think, has a big day. Not Brock Besner. Quinn Hughes. I'm looking at Quinn Hughes to have a big day here for Vancouver. Vancouver's also won 9 of the last 10. They've been able to cover that puck line versus the Sharks at home as well. The Vancouver Canucks on the puck line in the first period, I do think could be in play. I think both teams score in the first period and we go over 1.5. Both teams to score is my favorite bet at +198. The Anaheim Ducks versus the Vegas Golden Knights. In and out of this game. Give me Vegas on the puck line in the first period. Go up here, nice at home in the Fortress, laying a half a goal +100. Can you ult this one? I would lay 1.5 goals with the Vegas Golden Knights in the first period. 2-0 first period. You're going to get great plus money if that is able to cash. We've seen the Ducks get off to slow starts while their defense has been locking down. We've got John Gibson in goal tonight and not Dostal. Aiden Hill here for the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Vegas Golden Knights have been strong at covering that puck line versus the Pacific. So they really step up. Okay, that was the recap. I hope you guys got all of that. If you want to recap it again. I can't. I just can't say it all again, you guys. Let's look at some of these player props for what we're liking tonight. I do think Vegas comes out nice and strong at home, puts on a show. If we're just when I tell you guys I like a point for someone and I'm putting it in this long shot parlay, it's because I like them to score. So I like Mark Stone to score here for Vegas. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. Thomas Hurdle. He was with the Sharks before, not the Ducks, right? I am drawing a blank on that. I think he was with he was with the Sharks, not the Ducks. For a second, I was like, Thomas Hurdle versus his former team. And then I was like, no, I'm pretty sure he was with the Sharks. So he got traded over last season. So I want to look at him, but I am going to look at Mark Stone. I think Mark Stone can light the lamp tonight. So when we're looking at Mark Stone, to light the lamp, if you want to just take him for the anytime goal, I'm 100% going to be putting that bet in for this kind of like long shot parlay. I'd put the point in. The point alone is so juicy, though. It's minus 360. It's gross, but that is where I'd look. And then let's jump into the game here for the San Jose Sharks versus the Vancouver Canucks. Looking at this game, I do think Quinn Hughes finds the back of the net. So taking him for a point tonight, I will throw in there. JT Miller is someone you want to look at as well. Now, I did say Brock Besner. I'm not going to look at him in this one. I think Quinn Hughes has a better opportunity. And when we go on to the Sharks, because I do think they're going to score, I think Tyler Toffoli versus his former team, you could basically play every single night, you guys. Tyler Toffoli has played for the Vancouver Canucks, and I do think he scores in this one. Now, Sutter is also a really interesting look here for Vancouver. Sutter has been playing great as of late. Anytime goal for Sutter is coming in at plus 530, I believe. So I would put him outside of this parlay just for the anytime goal for the Vancouver Canucks. He's really stepped up versus the Sharks. So we've been seeing him score versus the Sharks. When we look at the Nashville Predators and the Carolina Hurricanes, I do think the Predators get on the board today and can get that quick win. Now, Forsberg would be my go-to for the Predators in this one. And you know Sebastian Aho for the Canes, but I'm going to leave it out of there. If you want to look at Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis parlayed for a point together outside of this, I like that as well. I'm going to stay off the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild. I'm also going to stay off the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Islanders. The St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings, I'm seeing the goals come in, so we will throw those points in there. And if you guys are going, God, is talking too fast, I can't write it down, I'm going to come back to it. So Lucas Raymond, I'm going to throw in for the point because I think he scores. And Jordan Kyrou, I'm going to throw into the point for the Blues and the Red Wings. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens, another high-scoring game. I do believe between these two. When we look at the points here, you guys know I'm going to Monahan and I'm going to call Caulfield. Patrick Laine and Nick Suzuki, I do think, are strong playmakers as well for you to look at in that matchup. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers, we've seen these teams really trend to the over when they play each other. I do think those goals are coming. Sidney Crosby, definitely someone you can trust for the Pittsburgh Penguins to light the lamp. I'm going to look at Raquel, though, for the Penguins for this parlay because he has proven against the Flyers is when he really steps up. Now, who am I looking at for the Flyers? I'm going to look at Owen Tippett, and for the point, he's plus 110. So we're getting some plus money thrown into this. I will stay off the Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals. I'm going to stay off the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers, Sam Reinhart, was able to catch those power play points. You know you want to look at Sam Reinhart, Braden Point for the power play points today in that matchup. But inside of this, I will stay off. And same with the Winnipeg Jets, Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't like the motivation. And I don't like the daytime games here for them and the Rangers. So we have, let's see what we have here. Because I talk so fast, I don't even know what we have. Okay, we have a couple same game parlays that we could do. The straight bets, we have how many players? Well, it looks like we got 10 legs in here, you guys. So 10 legs coming in at plus 12,458. So a $10 bet if this same game parlay hits. A $1 bet pays you $124.59. That is a good day at the office. Just laying $1 on this. These are long shot bets, you guys, and I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw these hockey players for all of these legs to cash. But that is where I'm liking for the goals. So when I'm liking for the goals, we look at the points parlayed together. It is a nice long shot. So a $10 bet returns $12,000 or $1,245, not $12,000. A $1 bet returns 124. So to recap where we're going with the long shot parlay, Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights for the point. Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks for the point. Tyler Toffoli of the San Jose Sharks for the point. Philip Forsberg of the Nashville Predators for the point. Lucas Raymond of the Detroit Red Wings for the point. Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues for the point. Sean Monahan of the Columbus Blue Jackets for the point. Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens for the point. Raquel for the point for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Owen Tippett for the point for the Flyers. 10 legs, nice and simple, all for a point for a long shot. If you want to do any of those same game parlays, since FanDuel has already parlayed them together for me, Monahan and Caulfield, those are great playmakers there between the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens. And again, I think it's an over game. Both of those guys for a point, just parlay the two of them, plus 149. If we're going to look at the St. Louis Blues and the Red Wings, it's Lucas Raymond and Jordan Kyrou, parlayed together for the point at plus 157. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers, because Owen Tippett's plus 110 for the point. If you parlay that with Raquel, it's coming in at plus 248. So definitely our best same game parlay for the value we're getting. When we look at the Sharks versus the Vancouver Canucks, that's Quinn Hughes and Tyler Toffoli, each for a point at plus 168. So those are your same game parlays. Mark Stone of Vegas and the Predators, Philip Forsberg. Of course, there's no one on the other side, so no same game parlays in those. But it should be a good day out on the ice. Again, be cautious with these players with their mindset going into the holidays. Unsure of some of the stresses, maybe family obligations, looking ahead to the holidays that some of these players may have. Remember, they're only human out there, and we all take our personal lives into our careers. You know that does happen. So be cautious with today's betting slate. But I do think it's going to be a good day. I do think there's lots of opportunities to make some freaking money. You guys, this will be the last Puck It with Jo before the holidays. So I want to wish each and every one of you a wonderful holiday season. Hopefully you're spending it with the ones that you love. And if you're not spending it with the ones that you love, you know, I'm going to be around on Twitter, so come on over and say hi. I will be having Christmas morning with my kids. We'll do a brunch and then headed off to see my mom and my aunt. But you guys know I will be around. We've got NFL football still on the go. Just remember the holiday seasons can be so hard on so many people out there. And for many reasons, maybe they're not spending it with the ones they love. Maybe the obligation to stay up with the Joneses is just too much and they're going into financial ruin to try to do so. Or maybe they just can't afford to get their kids what they want for Christmas. So be kind to everyone out there this Christmas and in life in general. You never know what someone has going on behind the scenes. So if I could have a Christmas wish, it would be the world would be a lot kinder to each and every one of us out there. So you guys have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you are celebrating out there. I wish you all the best this holiday season. We will be back for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X when these games kick back off on Friday. So enjoy the next couple of days of no hockey out there on the ice. Enjoy tonight's action, but make sure you just stay tuned to X. Stay tuned for my Cup of Joes. Still so much going on in the sporting world, you guys. We'll be back soon. Take some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo.